Welcome to Fresh Tech Tips. I am Derrell Noris, CEO of Fresh Tech Solutions. Today I have a couple of my business partners here with me today.
Hello, I'm Nicholas Mbaezue-Daniel, founder of Aegis Project Management LLC.
And I'm Dr. Doug Franklin, co-founder and CEO of Deck Launch LLC. Hey, everybody. How you guys doing today?
Pretty awesome, Doc. Pretty awesome. What about you, Nick?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Ready to rock.
Let's rock then. So today's Fresh Tech Tip topic is know your status.
Yeah, know your status. So pretty much what we're going to be doing is talking about, in this environment where everybody is now, every business is at a different status, like either of operation or success level. And there are definitely projects that you can take on based on the status of your company right now. So we're going to be talking about that a little bit.
Definitely.
Right.
So
and when we talk about status, we're really talking about what's going on right now, right? So like everybody's businesses are so many different places based on what's going on with the pandemic or with a whole bunch of other things for the reason why people are staying in. And so this is a great place for you to understand where you're supposed to be and what you can do to deal with that part of your business.
Definitely. So with all this COVID-19 still more active than ever right now, it's important for you to get tested individually to know your status. It's also important that you know the status. It's also important that you know the status of your business and what projects that you can implement to get that business thriving again. So, Nick, let's hit him with one of those beautiful Nick definitions. What is a project?
Yeah, man. So a project is an undertaking that's carried out to achieve a unique and particular aim. So it's going to be different from what you do regularly for your business, routine and reoccurring. You have to have, hey, I need to achieve this target right here, and a project is a vehicle that gets you there. And the reason why project is different is because it's controlled. It's like a controlled experiment. You control the scope. You make sure you really narrow down exactly what it is that you want to do. You control the resources that you're going to put into it. And then it's more, and then another thing is the time that it takes to get it done.
Definitely. So I want to go through the different, say, statuses of business. So let's kind of go down the list as we see it. So we're going to talk about five different types of statuses. First, we're going to talk about if your business is booming, then if business is as usual, there's no change. Talking about a prime pivot. Then we're going to talk about if your business downsized. And then finally, we're going to go through what happens if your business is closed. So let's get right to it. I'll start with this number one, business is booming. There are some companies right now that are booming right now during these hard times. For us, we're doing pretty well because we're a tech company and everybody's trying to go virtual. So not all businesses are doing bad and struggling right now. So that's the first thing. And Nick, you want to talk about what you would recommend for these type of businesses that are doing good during these times?
Yeah, and I just wanted to add, I love what you said about like not everybody's doing bad, and I just want to add that some of it is because of just where you're placed. Like you mentioned, tech industry, certain industries are going up right now because they have some kind of solution to help with the climate right now. And so it puts you in a position to grow. And so you find a lot of businesses that are booming. Those are those businesses that are well positioned right now. And in this scenario, there's definitely, when there's growth, there's a lot of things to recommend. So I had a lot of things on my mind, but one thing that people might not think about is optimization of your process. So if your car or if your house is built for 5 people, and all of a sudden your capacity, you need to have 25 people, you have all this extra new people in there, that's not going to last very long. It's not going to work properly. So if your processes are built for whatever status that you were before this growth, and you're still trying to just keep moving and keep it on there, it's not going to be sustainable over time. So something that you often don't think about that is important for you to do is to strip down your processes right now and look at how it can cope with the new influx of activity, of business activity. That's going to be how many people do I have? It's even going to go down to how I'm doing what it is that I'm doing. Because if you're a CEO or you're an entrepreneur and you've been so stuck in your business and you're the one doing everything and it's been working, when there's growth, that's probably not going to work anymore. So what changes do I need to make to really, really capitalize on this new growth of my business?
Right, because there's a bunch of businesses that are sitting there that are literally thriving in a place where they were doing kind of okay, or even always just being consistent, that have already started to lift their business up. So it means that there's a lot of things you got to look at, right? So there might be some things that you used to do that aren't necessarily relevant anymore, and you got to get rid of that part of your process. But there's some things that are blowing it out the water that you got to make a decision on if you're going to continue to do it or not. And then you still have to figure out if those things are still going to work if things calm down. So we went back to our, hypothetically speaking, old normal. What does it mean for your business? And you still got to make sure that your processes are good. So you still have to be flexible, even though you're doing well currently in this moment.
Yeah, definitely. And so the next one I want to touch on is those companies who are doing business as usual. Nothing has changed. So Nick, first of all, how does that happen? And what do you do? What do you do? What's the solution?
Yeah, I mean, definitely when we say nothing has changed, we mean like incrementally compared relative to, to everything that's going on, because definitely something did change. I hope you went home for a little bit, you quarantined, closed down a little bit, went a little virtual or something, give some people some bonuses, I hope. So something definitely did change, but you didn't have to adjust or shift your model drastically enough where it took in considerable amount of resources or time, or the shift was enough where it was just a small step in left or right, whatever direction it was. So those are who we're talking about. And for businesses like that, yes, okay, you're still operating, you're fine right now, but things can change very quickly. So it's very important for businesses like that you build out a risk profile, risk quantification. What are the risks that are out there? And then how am I going to respond to it? So really just building out a conclusive business continuity plan would be what I would recommend, a project I recommend for businesses who have not been affected too much and are able to operate. Because you want to prepare for the next shift. You never know what it is and how it might affect you. So if you built out that risk profile properly and you have those plans, so you can still operate with some kind of a little bit of peace of mind, knowing that, okay, I've prepared for these certain scenarios, and if something happens, I can adjust when it happens.
Right, and Nick said a mouthful, and it's like so perfect to say. Well, if you're moving constant between our regular existence per se before COVID, and then you're moving the exact same way, revenue the exact same way, which it means that you didn't really necessarily have an optimized way to be able to create revenue. And so there's a couple of things that we worry about. So at that point, even though you're making good money, we're like really thinking about your revenue model up top first, but then also your customer acquisition, because there's a lot of things that are not necessarily the same thing anymore. Because if you were somebody that had a storefront and you're still doing the exact same money online, and you're spending a whole bunch of money online, and you have been for a while, and people have just been coming into the storefront, then it tells you something about your business. It tells you what you may need to do. I'm not saying you close down your storefront, because people might be in the middle of COVID right now still coming in. But there's a lot of things you have to take into consideration that says, hey, my brand and the way that I've shaped my brand is so strong or not strong enough that I can actually bring it back to online sales, which makes you have to make those decisions or ask those questions about the nature of optimization, just like Nick said.
So I love that. And Doug, I want to bring this back to you. So I want to get into this prime pivot.
Yeah, this is my favorite. Yeah.
So if your business is in a status where you had to make a major decision to change how you do things, that's what we're talking about when we're talking about prime pivot. So Doug, go ahead and let's get into this.
So the prime pivot is a very hypothetical, because I have not seen a lot. Well, we have not seen a lot of businesses that have been put in that position. And so basically, let's say that with everything going on with the nature of the tragedy and everything, that is circling around you. You have shifted your business so hard, but people have followed you. That might be a thing. It might literally be a thing. There's some businesses that are doing unbelievably well compared to what they did before COVID-19. This is what we call a prime pivot. And so like the best way I can give you is an example that we had to figure out just because we want to make sure we cover all of our bases. So let's say if you have an apparel store where you design the apparel, you get it printed out at a place local, COVID happens, and so you go into drop shipping. And people see your designs. People love your designs. People start buying your designs more than they ever had. Now you're in a prime pivot. And so basically with a prime pivot, you made a major decision to change your business, and your business was benefited based on anything that was going on. And so there are some businesses literally out here right now that have made a transition to online that are killing. And your business could be one of those things, depending on how far this whole pandemic and quarantine go. And
another example,
those are things that can happen.
From that same example from the apparel store, another example of that prime pivot would be you start adding masks to your collection because everybody knows we need masks right now. And there's a lot of people who want their logos on their masks and things of that nature.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of different things that we're talking about when we're talking about this prime pivot.
Yeah, and even if it's not, I know we're talking about business because we're always talking about money, but there are other types of currency, just reputational, like so certain liquor companies who started making hand sanitizer and certain things like that.
Yes.
That gives you some kind of clout in the public space or in the marketplace. That's good. I mean, you're doing something good, and then you get respected for it. It can only help you in those ways. But for this people in this scenario, when I was thinking about recommending a project, I just want to shout out something first though. Tech. Like right now, if you're doing some kind of prime pivot, most likely, and you're successful, when you do a prime pivot, it's pretty much going to take you to where you're booming or you're doing business as usual. It's probably going to involve tech. It's probably going to involve tech. So that's just something I want people to keep in mind. But what else I recommend is resource analysis. So when you do your prime pivot, yes, you have this new idea, you're making this shift, and it's going to be good. I can make so much money. But just remember that it might not take the same amount of stuff, or it might take more amount of resources than you were using before. So you need to capture exactly what it is that needs to change. Doug mentioned customer acquisition costs, operational costs of switch over to tech, whatever it is, procurement, whatever it is, it's going to be new. So you have to make sure you capture that. Don't get fixated so much on the new opportunity that's there. Make sure you actually capture out what my resources are that are needed and how I can secure those.
Yeah, definitely. And one last example on the prime pivot. I have a family member. He's over Evo Entertainment. It's a movie theater in San Antonio, Kyle, Texas, or whatever, wherever it's at. And when it's a movie theater, as soon as COVID hit, instantly nobody's going to the movies anymore. So their pivot that they did was amazing. They did two great pivots. The first one, they actually started selling groceries. Random, but they started selling groceries, delivering these, so it turned into a whole thing. The second thing they did was they cleared out their parking lot and they turned it into a big drive-through movie theater. And it's a lot of people doing that now, but they were one of the first ones to do this. So this happened like immediately when COVID started. So that's just a great example of people understanding what's going to happen and trying to figure out how do I fix this before it gets too crazy. And they're doing great. They're doing great.
Right.
Hey,
real quick, shout out to what you just said there. And I forgot to say, new product development. That's something else that people are doing. You just mentioned just like, hey, what it is, what do I have? How can I leverage it to do more in tandem with what it is that I am doing? So yeah, big ups to them, man. That's just pretty good.
Most definitely.
So the next business status I want to get into is those businesses who have to downsize.
Yeah, and we're talking about, again, drastic changes, for the business to survive, or your business is either still made those changes and it's still shrinking and shrinking and shrinking and shrinking. Your output, your revenue is shrinking. I think for these businesses, even though, yes, this environment, you just be like, yes, COVID is causing it. I think we need to find out, well, what specifically about COVID, because it changes. It's affecting every industry and every business within the industry. There's some nuance to the way it's affecting you. If it's affecting the amount of people coming into your store, or it's affecting your supply chain, I can't get this item that I need from here. Everything is if you can't figure out exactly what it is, that's why root cause analysis is important, which is what we're recommending here for the project, is if you can't find out specifically what it is that's affecting me and how it's affecting me, then you can't go about changing it, one, or two, making a decision, playing it out further. It's like, okay, if this is happening, I don't think this is going to change in 6 months, so I need to change what I'm doing. I can't hold on to this. Or if this is only a 2-month thing, okay, I can ride this out if I do it this way. It informs your strategy going forward, and you're not just like leaving yourself to whatever happens. So that's really what I love about root cause analysis, because until you find the problem exactly at its lowest point, you can't really know what is happening.
Nick, I love that, because there's a lot of people who just saying I'm closed because of COVID. And you have to
but what? Some people are open. What is it?
It's way too easy to blame COVID for a lot of the things that are going on. But if we're talking about how your business has to decrease, if your business is decreasing, there's a whole bunch of ways to look at it after you say, well, there's fewer people they're coming in. That's okay. We get that. But what else? And this is what we're talking about with the nature of downsizing. So maybe your business so when I looked at this whole concept of downsizing, we're talking about businesses that could keep their employees for the most part because they're paying their employees. But the owner, you're eating ramen noodles versus eating steak and shrimp right now. Your cost of living has reduced to make sure that your employees are making money. Are at least living at the cost of living where they're supposed to, which they should be, because if we're ethical leaders, which we talked about a couple shows ago, that's who matters first anyway, right? But there's other processes that we can fix. There's other things that we probably missed. There's a way that you should be able to eat steak real quick, and it might be in the way that you budget, the way that we do inventory, the way that we control our money, the way that we make decisions on giving comps for people that come into our restaurant who aren't necessarily pleased with our customer service. There are so many things that are out there that where we make decisions as retailers where we could have shifted them just a little bit incrementally that might affect how much money we're giving to the consumer, where the consumer doesn't care, but they're still happy the same way they were in the first place, and then you could be all right. But you won't be able to find them into a place like this, and you might be in a crisis just right now. This might be the best time to find out the best way to streamline your business model, because when everything is lifted, you're going to make way more money because you tighten yourself up according to what Nicholas told y'all.
Definitely. So those business downsides, just make sure that you know the true root cause and don't just blame it on COVID. Yes, COVID is the cause. There's underlying causes. What happened? What did COVID cause your business to do? So get those. So the last one I want to hit on is when business is closed. What do you do when business is closed, Nick?
Yeah, just because your business has to stop operating is not the end of the world, obviously. And, if you look at plenty of entrepreneurs, more successful, less successful than us, they've had businesses that close. It's part of it sometimes. And a lot of times it's because it closes because that's the best thing to do. It's literally the best thing to do, or there's no way of getting around it, which is fine. Now, one thing you have to realize is that you still have assets. You still have things that are valuable that can be leveraged for you to do whatever comes next. And that's what I think we recommend for this. So liquidation or asset management. What is it that I still have that I've gotten from this business? Maybe it's your networks or contact, whatever it is. What value do I have right now that is closed? And then how can I leverage that to do whatever comes next?
Yeah, and there's a little bit of, so like the thing is like, if you have to shut everything all the way down, there might be a possibility for you to wait. But if you wait, what does that mean? And so you may have to go through root cause analysis and some of the other things that Nick has talked about. But if you're really in crisis, you really have to have those honest questions with yourself and your business to say, is this business in this moment over? Or is this business just postponed? That's when you have to have those questions about liquidation and asset management. One of the things about liquidation that people don't think about, like if you say, look, I got to go sell a whole bunch of stuff, it doesn't necessarily mean that your business is over today. It means that it survives till tomorrow if you are putting something into a sale that is going to be heavy so that you know when the people are coming back, they're going to be there. And so that's one of the most difficult cost-benefit decisions you have to make when you're talking about your business, because your business is your baby. And so is your money. And so it's okay, but it's okay to say, well, if I sell things at this level, my business survives. So you have to make that decision. Is it your pocket that's more important, or is it your business baby that is the most important?
Bro, remember this term stop loss?
Of course.
Yeah. So I was just thinking, I was just talking. That's why I mean, you know exactly what that is. So when your business closing, it's pretty much a stop loss. Like, you know, it's not the end of the world. It's just like, all right, got to stop this real quick. You can reconvene. The stock price might go back up. You never know what's going to happen. But at that point, it's time to reset, you know, and see what it is that I have before finding out which direction you need to go. That's pretty much all.
And I love that analogy, Nick. That was beautiful. For those who don't know what a stop loss is, it's when you're doing trading and you buy some stocks, you can actually set a price that you're going to automatically sell if it hits that low. So it kind of goes right into the conversation. You should have that number that you need to recognize that if you hit this, we need to stop loss.
Pineapple.
Safety word. Y'all, I really enjoyed this show. Know your status. Go get tested. Test your businesses as well.
Yeah.
So please, everybody, if you are booming, great, continue to boom. If you're doing business as usual, get to the booming stage. Don't settle for as usual. Get better. If you're prime pivot some more. If you did it once, you can do it twice. If your business is downsized, man, you need to do a lot of pivoting and try to figure out that root cause of why you had to downsize, and don't just say COVID. And finally, if your business is closed, it doesn't mean it's closed forever. So just hang in there, do the numbers, know your numbers, don't make decisions without knowing those, and be smart about it. And you can always hit up Fresh Tech, Tech Launch, Aegis if y'all have any issues or questions y'all want to further discuss. As usual, please follow us on Facebook group, Fresh Tech Tips with a Z. We are here every Monday at 12 o'clock. Well, we try to be here at 12 o'clock. Sorry about the delay today, but thank y'all for joining Fresh Tech Tips, and we'll see y'all next time.